Welcome to Behind the Blue. I'm Cody Kaiser with UK Strategic Communications. Today on the podcast, we are joined by Jill Smith, who is the Executive Director of the UK Alumni Association, and Tom Mathews, who is the incoming 2025-2026 Alumni Association President. From celebrating homecoming to honoring distinguished alumni, the Alumni Association plays a vital role in connecting Wildcats everywhere. So we're going to talk a little bit about Tom's story. We're going to talk about upcoming events and then also explore how alumni can get involved. So thanks to both of you for taking the time to talk with us.
Thanks for having us, Cody.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
So, Tom, I want to start a little bit talking about your UK journey, what brought you to the university and how your time here, shaped your career and your life after graduation.
Sure. Well, I was a chemistry major. Had always been interested in the sciences and landed at UK in the late 80s, early 90s. While I was a student, I did serve as an RA in the dormitories and later became a hall director at Holmes Hall. So that was probably the most formative thing about my time on campus, making a lot of friends, still in touch with a lot of the staff members that we worked with together for several years there. And then obviously career-wise, the chemistry led to a position in laboratory work, and my job eventually took me to Houston, Texas, which is where I live and work now.
Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Sure. So my company is called Industrial Solvents Corporation, and we help larger refiners and petrochemical manufacturers with their co-product streams. So they're running a facility or plant to make a certain chemical. They also get the byproducts, and we are specialists in helping them find good homes and responsible places to put those chemicals.
You were a Commonwealth Scholar in chemistry. Looking back between your academic work, your studies, your time on campus, living in the residence halls, and then working as a resident advisor, what stands out to you as most impactful of your time at UK?
Well, most impactful, I'd have to say, Cody, is simply the relationships. It's always about people, the folks that you meet, the classmates that you spend time with, whether it's in the lab, whether it's in the dorm, on the intramural fields. Really had a blast, but the main takeaway that I have from my time in Lexington is all the folks that I was, lucky to spend time with.
Working with students as an RA, working with student groups on campus, you were in groups like Collegians for Academic Excellence, but you've been deeply involved in community service in Houston. Do you kind of see your time at UK as kind of influencing that and seeing the importance of that as you moved into your career?
No question about it. Again, the RA experience is one that just had such an impact on the way that I view a community, how to bring people together, how to help others. They say, Cody, if you want to be happy for an hour, take a nap. If you want to be happy for a day, go fishing. If you want to be happy for a month, get married. Don't tell my wife I said that. If you want to be happy for a year, inherit a fortune. But if you want to be happy for a lifetime, help others. And that's something that always stuck with me. And that was something I was blessed to be able to do as an RA and hall director. And my service with the Alumni Association just continues that.
That's excellent. Jill, as director of the Alumni Association, how do you view the importance of, alumni stories like Tom's in how to build and sustain the association's mission?
Sure. Well, I think what makes our organization so special are our volunteers like Tom. So he's here today from Houston, Texas, and we have lots of people that are willing to do that, willing to buy a plane ticket, grab a hotel room in Lexington, and come back 3-4 times a year just to stay connected to their alma mater. So it's really special, and it's inspiring to our staff to kind of feed off the energy that our volunteers have and be inspired by the work that they do for free. We don't pay them. And so that's really special, I think, for the Alumni Association and for the university.
What is that process like of selecting and then also transitioning year to year through Alumni Association leadership? And maybe to brag a little bit on Tom, what qualities was there to make him a strong fit for the position?
Oh, goodness. Well, Tom has been a long-time volunteer in our organization. So he has been one of the, rocks of the Houston Club for many years, which to be a club so far removed from Lexington has done a lot of great work over the years. I think there's another quote that absence makes the heart grow fonder, and I think that's true for a lot of our alumni clubs. So they do a very large derby party and have game watch parties. Occasionally we play down in Houston, and so it's nice to have a group there that can go scout places for us or help us with venue suggestions and things like that. But in terms of finding your way to the board and then to an officer position, a lot of the people that serve in our organization have decades of service. So it might be at the club level, it might be through their college. Now we're starting to see our alumni ambassadors. We're in our, I think, 8th year of that program, so we're starting to see them come up through the board program and network. And it's just been great to see people who want to stay connected and be involved. And Tom specifically, I think, is so unique in the fact that he's been a club volunteer. He served on the national board. I think you've been on every committee, probably, chaired them all.
Most, if not all, yes.
So he's real well-rounded and has seen a lot of angles of our organization, and he's pretty funny too. So great at the networking piece as well. So always makes people feel welcome.
I think that's great, that idea that you can, wherever you move to, you can get involved in a club at your local level.
Sure.
And not only is it a great place to network with other alums and be able to kind of connect with your community there, but also find those opportunities for leadership and those opportunities to mentor young alumni who are coming to that area, who are getting their start, and kind of work your way up through that over time, and it just kind of continues to build upon that and then inspire the next group behind you to do that as well.
Tom has to share his mentoring story, both as an alum and with one of our students.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're hitting on this topic. There is a single individual who had just a huge influence on me. His name is Dan Sparks. He is formerly my boss. He's now my neighbor, and he served on the board in years prior, helped to reestablish the Houston Club after it had gone dormant for a while. But when I moved to Texas, as Jill mentioned with her absence comment, you're used to seeing blue around this state. You're used to seeing bumper stickers and T-shirts and hats that say Cats. You get to Texas, there's a lot of burnt orange. There's a lot of Aggie folks. And so when you can find that that person that you strike up a conversation with, it may be in a parking lot, it may be at church, it may be somewhere else, and you can say, "Oh, well, I'm originally from Louisville. Where are you from?" And next thing you know, you're off and running. And that connection is immediate. Dan, for his part, helped me get involved immediately, once we relocated. And so him and his wife really just did a wonderful job, as Jill mentioned, of setting up a derby party, having the game watch parties, other community service activities. We volunteer at the Houston Food Bank and have done a lot of things in the local area. But, again, what that allows is to create a little Big Blue Nation 1,100 miles away in our case. And then with Dan being such a great impact on me, obviously I feel obligated to try to groom that next generation of alumni volunteers. And so through our ambassador program, I've been connected with a current UK student. His name is S.J. Likens. Shout out S.J. He is a tremendous, just a bright young man, is pursuing a chemical engineering degree in his case. He's doing a lot of great research here at UK, getting a wonderful education. And it's been neat to meet him, to be able to help him along, to offer some advice, to make some introductions and open up some doors for SJ. So that's the idea, is to try to continue to leave that ladder behind so that folks can come up. You don't want to pull the ladder up behind you once you've made it to a certain level.
Did you know you were going to end up in Houston at some point, like during your college career? Do you kind of had an idea of the area you wanted to go into, or how did that kind of manifest?
Great question, Cody, and the answer is no. I thought I would be, KY till I die, as they say. But again, I could not turn down this opportunity. It allowed me to expand my career. It allowed my wife to stay at home at the time. We had a young daughter, and we also have a son he was born in Texas. He's the only person in our immediate family that's a true Texan in that sense. But I had no idea that I would eventually live there. Had the wrong idea about Houston in particular. I thought it was going to be all boots and hats and tumbleweeds blowing down the sidewalks. Houston's very green. It's in the Gulf Coast. So certainly West Texas has all the tumbleweeds and sandstorms. But the state has been great to me. We have other clubs. There's a Central Texas club in the Austin area. There's a Dallas-Fort Worth club. So we like to think that we're doing our part to spread the gospel down there in the Lone Star State.
I can definitely see where if you're graduating from here, going on to a career, you're moving to some place that you've never lived or never been before, that thought and feeling of being kind of lost at sea in a sense. And so being able to see those colors, find that community of people who at least have that common thread, and then to build out from that. I can see where that in a lot of ways is kind of a lifeline to some degree for people to really help them establish roots. Because you never want to see somebody graduate, move to someplace, and then just be so unhappy there that they maybe stop pursuing the career that they want. And so it's nice to have that kind of foundational thing to help people kind of say, yeah, I do belong here, and I do have a community that I kind of brought along with me in a sense.
Very well said, Cody. And we do have clubs across the country, ukalumni.net. You can find a club in your area, so we always want to let people know that wherever you land, if it's Chicago, Atlanta, New York City, try to find a local club if you can.
What excites you the most about taking on this role at this point in your career? And maybe to both of you, how do you see where the Alumni Association is and how you need to move into the future to kind of evolve to kind of meet the needs of today's alumni?
I'm going to let Jill take a swing at this, but one thing that we're challenged by, Cody, is our alumni base is getting younger. We're getting larger freshman classes every year, and the demographics of that will tell you that, as the years go by, we're going to continue to skew a little bit younger as a group. So maybe Jill could talk a little bit about that challenge.
Yeah, the record enrollment classes then translate to record graduation classes. And you're down at commencement with us every year in both May and December. And so our percentage of young alumni that make up our overall alumni base is getting larger. Our young alumni are very transient, so many of them will go to professional school, law school, medical school, or get a master's degree. It might be here, it might be somewhere else, but often they sublease, they move around. And so keeping up with them is one of the challenges, and we do our best through Grad Salute and other programs to try to capture their post-graduation address, but I'm not sure it's always top of mind for any alum to call the Alumni Association and tell us that you moved. And so that's one of the challenges, but also I think meeting people where they are. Our university is so large now that it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all shop anymore, and so we work with our colleges, we work with students, we work with constituent groups. We work with our alumni clubs. Some of our alumni clubs have a good core of young alumni in those areas. Our metropolitan clubs tend to have more young alumni there. For our more rural clubs, it's a very different story, and so programming really is dictated by the demographics that are there. And so we're trying to do more digitally. So we have one program we have every other week called Job Club that prior to COVID was in Lexington. It was a very regional program, and now we've seen participants from over 40 states in that program. And so trying to think more digital and realize that people can connect even if it's not in person. I do think there's something about that in-person connection though that is really special, but if that can't be done, there are other opportunities to connect people. And then communications, I think, is one of our biggest jobs, is just to keep people informed. So we have a great magazine that goes out 4 times a year, and for people like Tom that live in Houston that don't hear UK news daily, I think it's a great resource for them to kind of stay in check with what's going on at the university. The internet's a powerful thing, but the articles in that magazine and just the tangibility of that, to be able to flip through, look at photos, kind of gives you a sense of what's going on currently at your school. So that's a really important thing that we do. And of course, social media, all of the channels, ever-changing landscape in the communication field, we try to keep up and up with that as best we can to keep people connected.
You know, the idea of getting students engaged with the Alumni Association before they graduate, before they leave, I know that's been an important thing. And you mentioned commencement and being at Rupp Arena for graduation ceremonies. And I was just speaking not too long ago with Meredith in your all's office about the way commencement, the ceremony has changed since COVID. And the students now walk across the stage and they walk out and have their photo taken, and then they go out, but they encounter the Alumni Association there on their way out, which is a much better opportunity, because in years previous it may not have been something that they would have stopped by and talked to somebody with, but now they do. And so I thought that was an interesting kind of thing of like, oh yeah, there is a fringe benefit of that, because it brings them there, and it's one last time to say, you know, we're here, we want you to be involved, we want you to be a part of this, and I thought that was a good opportunity there.
Sure. I'm proudly wearing my UK alumni lapel pin today. So every student, as they graduate and walk across the stage, they are handed a UK alumni lapel pin. And so that's really a good way for us to say, you know, welcome to the alumni family. Students who lose those will often call the Alumni Association, ask if they can have another one. So we feel like that has been a new thing we started because of COVID. We couldn't have an event during those years. And so we started doing this, and I kind of thought that the reception tradition might go away, but it's actually come back very strong because of the way that Rupp Arena is set up, and they do file through our reception. The colleges all have the opportunity to table there, so they get in front of their graduates one last time and often give them a gift and encourage them to stay connected. And it's a good meeting hub for parents to come meet their graduate. And then Tom and our prior presidents all get to speak to the graduating class and encourage them to get involved. And so you're absolutely right. Commencement's a great touch point, and we hope we've done other things up until that point to connect them with the Alumni Association so that they know about us.
As students graduate, they go on, and as Dr. Capilouto often likes to say, to live lives of meaning and purpose, and they go on to have successful careers. Often each year we look at some of those alums who have gone on, and they are honored through the Alumni Association's Hall of Distinguished Alumni. So I want to kind of shift gears and talk about this a little bit. Can you talk about the Hall of Distinguished Alumni and the significance of it, and kind of what it means for the university's legacy?
We do this every 5 years, so we induct a class, and we try to recognize those who have career accomplishment at either the national or international level through that program. So there's a nomination process. We rely on our colleges quite a bit to nominate individuals that they know, but we get nominations from outside our colleges too. And there's a committee of volunteers like Tom that has the tough task of going through those nominations and selecting individuals to be a part of that class. So this year we're going to induct 20 individuals, and we have college presidents, we have U.S. ambassadors, we have some folks that have done really prestigious things in Hollywood. We have had Pulitzer Prize winners in the past, so it's a really prestigious honor to be inducted into the Hall of Distinguished Alumni. I would argue it's probably the most prized program, definitely for the Alumni Association, possibly at the university as well. And we look forward to getting to know that class each time that we have the celebration.
Hey, Tom, as someone who's been recognized as a UK Fellow and deeply involved as a life member, what does a recognition by your alma mater mean to you personally?
Well, it means a lot, Cody. The HODA folks, as we call it, Hall of Distinguished Alumni, those are people that are really at the next level, as Jill mentioned. Just to be a part of that in terms of the ceremony itself is something I'm really looking forward to. The names, some may be more recognizable than others, but I can tell you whether they have a certain level of fame or notoriety or not, they are all quite impressive. And it's neat to be, just part of the fabric of the university that can produce people that have won the kind of awards that they have won, reached the kind of acclaim that they've had, published the kind of papers, et cetera. So, I'm very proud to be a part of that fabric.
We are recording this in early September. The fall semester has started. Relatively early in the fall semester, we have homecoming weekend, and I know that you all have been very hard at work, not just this month, not just over the summer, but since last homecoming, starting the process of looking into like events and what you're going to do. It's always a highlight of the fall, of the entire week. Let's talk a little bit about what alumni can expect during homecoming week this year.
Yeah. So I think the staples of homecoming are kind of three things. So there's royalty, there's the game, obviously, and then tailgating. So one of our signature events that we have now, and we've had for many years, is the homecoming tailgate. So that's open to anyone. Most of our colleges will have a table there. It's a very large tailgate. We're back at the Tobacco Research Lawn this year on University Drive for that event. And it's just a fun atmosphere to celebrate Wildcats coming home and then get ready for the game. Delicious food. We usually have the band and cheerleaders stop by, so there's kind of a pep rally type atmosphere there. Usually have some fun giveaways and prizes, and it's really open to people of all ages. So grandchildren, children, our more senior members are all welcome to be there. We have a great time at that tailgate. So another thing that's relatively new is the block party. So this is second or third year for that. We have that at Alumni Commons, which is the corridor between Columbia Avenue and Hughlett Avenue along Rose Street. So those of you that may be watching this and were students may remember the days when that section of Rose Street was open and the deathly traffic nightmare that it was sometimes. And so that's been closed for several years, and we were fortunate to have the opportunity to name that space just a few years back. And so that's where the homecoming block party is now. And so that'll involve our students quite a bit, but also we'll have some community members there too on Sunday leading into homecoming. Other thing that is kind of a staple is the Lyman T. Johnson Awards Luncheon. So that'll happen on Friday at lunchtime, and there will be recipients from colleges that are both alumni and students recognized at that luncheon. And that is a large event. Usually we see 400-ish people at that, and then Keeneland is running during homecoming. So there's Big Blue Day at Keeneland too, happening on that Friday. So everybody's encouraged to wear blue that might be headed out to the track. So there are some other things that happen during that week. ukhomecoming.com is the best resource for all of the information and details. And then we look forward to welcoming people back. So
I know that each year there are conversations, probably countless conversations that you've had with alumni who have not been back in quite some time and are just kind of blown away by the changes, how Alumni Commons looks. I mean, recently, you can be away for 5 years and come back, and the landscape of campus has changed so much. How do you, tell me a little bit about those conversations, some of them, if you can think of like significant things that you've talked with people about, and maybe kind of what that means to kind of strengthen that alumni community when people come back and they see the transformation that's going on campus, and they see these events and take part in these events.
Sure.
Well, one thing I would mention, Cody, is just, as you called it, the physical transformation of the campus building wise. You see the cranes, you see the construction going on, and it's not done yet. We're still doing a lot, particularly in that healthcare space. But one example is frequently I'll be having a conversation with someone who's recently come back, to your point. It may have been 20 years ago, 30 years ago or more, and they can't orient themselves because the Kerwin Blanding complex is no longer there. And they find themselves a little bit turned around or a little bit lost. So yeah, just the fact that there's been billions of dollars literally put into those residence halls, the classrooms, the research buildings, et cetera, is once again something we can all be proud of. But we're also always trying to get, and I think Jill was probably going here with her comments earlier, the 50-year folks are very special to us. We call them the golden Wildcats. So with it being 2025, we're bringing back and focusing special attention on a class of 1975. So again, if you're listening to this or seeing the podcast online, we want to extend a very special invitation to those 50-year folks as golden Wildcats to come back. They get a special lapel pin as well, don't they?
They do. They're inducted into the Golden Wildcat Society during the weekend. So Tom will help us do that on Thursday evening. And so that is another big part of homecoming. We actually have that reunion going concurrently with our homecoming festivities, which is nice, I think, for people to get to experience both things when they come back to Lexington.
I remember several years ago, and I know you remember this, we did a video story on a couple who were celebrating being Golden Wildcats, and we did a little walking tour of campus over near where Stoll Field was, which was there when they were students, and they reminisced about going to the football games and the stadium being there, and it was just a really sweet story and just so great for them. You could just see it on their faces, like, you know, walking the campus, thinking about their time here and how much it's changed and what it meant to them. So yeah, it's for those alumni who are coming back, I can see where it really is a special opportunity for them to come and be a part of the week and the festivities.
1975, I don't even think this building, I think Rupp was about to open in 76 for the basketball season that following year. So who knew that 50 years later we would be sitting here having a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing I think about is how there's so much life on campus because of our enrollment numbers, because of the amount of students and student activity on campus, that there's just so much life and energy on campus, so alumni get to come back and see that. And you know, we talked about getting our students involved in the Alumni Association. One thing that they can do to get involved kind of early and have some early association with the Alumni Association is the Great Teacher Awards. And we have those that come up at the end of the fall semester, and then they're recognized in the spring semester. Can you talk a little bit about what makes the Great Teacher Award so meaningful for both faculty and maybe even also alumni?
Go ahead, Jill.
Okay. The Great Teacher Award is the longest continuous award for great teaching at UK. And so traces its roots back to 1961. Really special honor. We recognize 6 teachers annually. It's student nominated. And then our volunteers that make up our awards committee within the board of directors actually have, again, a tough task to go through and select those 6 great teachers. One of the neatest things that we do, and your team helps us with this, is we get to go in the classrooms and surprise the great teachers and let them know that they have won this award. And you get all kinds of reactions. So some are upset that you interrupted their class. Some think it's a birthday party because we show up with balloons. Some are just really confused. And if it can work out, we bring the student nominator with us, and that is so special for them to actually get to interact and be recognized in front of their class at the current time with this award. And then they get a $4,000 stipend. They get to be recognized at a dinner and then on the floor of Rupp Arena, which is always special, I think, anytime you get to go to the floor. And so it's just a really special award all the way around. But I think one of the things we're most proud of at the Alumni Association is that it's the oldest award for great teaching. And I would call it a tradition. I actually nominated someone when I was a student, so it was one of my early introductions to the Alumni Association. I think you're absolutely right. It's a neat way to connect with students through that program.
Every year I'm always reminded, you know, going to the classrooms for the surprise of having, on a few occasions, been briskly asked to leave and escorted out of the room until they realized that it was not a balloon delivery to a student or something like that, but it was there for them, and then they've been kind of like caught in the headlights.
Yes.
But it's always been a really joyful and overwhelming experience for them to receive that award.
Yes.
Tom, as an alum, do you recall faculty or mentors who had that kind of transformative impact on you?
Absolutely. My advisor was an old school pocket protector, short sleeve dress shirt and tie lecturer. His name was Robert Kaiser, R.W. Kaiser. The other
No relation, maybe relation. I don't know.
spelled the same. All the other faculty members called him Bob. I think he may have smoked a couple of packs a day. It was just a different era. But super patient with me, very helpful in terms of trying to plot out my path to a degree. You know, each semester when you have that challenge of, okay, well, I've got Tuesday, Thursday available for this or that time slot for classes, et cetera. And then the other guy who had an impact, and I probably owe him a huge apology. He was a graduate TA at the time. His name is Mark Lovell. He's now the department chair of chemistry here at UK, and once again, he probably put up with some very late lab reports from me. It's not to say I was goofing off in lab or doing anything dangerous, but just a very patient guy, a very knowledgeable guy, and just, you know, we talk about the great teacher. The UK is full of great teachers. Mm-hmm. I wish we could give them all an award, but you know, it is quite an honor for these 6 folks annually to achieve that.
Kind of looking ahead to this coming year, and then, you know, even the next maybe 5 years out, I kind of want to ask, as incoming Alumni Association president, kind of what your top priorities are for the coming year.
Great question. One thing that we want to always try to do is strengthen that club network. So whether they're in-state, again, as Jill said, we have a lot that are in more rural areas. We also have out-of-state clubs in bigger cities like Houston. So whatever the size, the scope of that geographical reach, we want to try to give them the resources that they need. I mentioned earlier that I'm always trying to help bring along the next generation, that younger group of alums. So mentorship is something that was important to me personally in my development, career-wise and in the community. So that's something else that I'm trying to stress during the coming year.
Jill, what do you see over the next 3 to 5 years as far as like big opportunities or big challenges for the Alumni Association?
Mm-hmm. We talked earlier about young alumni, so that's something we've been focused on the last several years, but we're currently trying to do an audit of what all our young alumni are doing, so through the colleges, through different programs, and hope to be able to really hone in on that in the next couple of years. Some opportunities, I think, you know, in some ways, I think some of the traditional things still work. So we are going to Auburn this year for our road trip, and we will see people at that road trip that are from literally could be from anywhere. So they may live close to Auburn, or they may live somewhere really far and just want to go to a UK road trip. The March Madness tournament's always interesting because you never know where you're going and you don't have very much time to plan something, but it is amazing who you will interact with and who you'll meet no matter where the teams go. So that's something we'll continue to do. I think right now there's a lot of excitement, and so we'll continue to do those things. But I think looking more at the digital space, looking at how we engage people based on interest, maybe more so than class year. As you know, with this incoming freshman group, a lot of them probably are actually sophomores because they have credits that they took in high school and have already completed so many credits toward their major. And so they might be here 4 years, and that last year they might get a minor, or they might get another major, but they might actually finish in 3 or 3.5. I think we're seeing more of that. And so it is probably something we need to think more about, that class year is changing, because you might be here 4 years but actually graduate a year prior. You might not even be here 4 years. So I think interest is something that will probably shift toward some in the next decade at least. So,
as we kind of wrap this up, I want to kind of ask, what are the best ways alumni can get involved? whether they're in Kentucky or in the U.S. or even abroad. And then what message would you share with alumni who are watching or listening who may not yet be connected or engaged with the Alumni Association, either here in Lexington or in their local clubs?
Yeah, take a first step of, again, visit the website is generally the best place to probably start, ukalumni.net. We will meet you more than halfway if you want to get involved, whether it's at again, a club level. If you're coming back to campus, don't hesitate to reach out to us. In terms of a message, Cody, we are a community, we are a family, and we always want to make your experience as positive as possible, whether it's in your community or back here in Lexington.
I would echo that as well. We do have a program called Wildcat Network that does allow digital engagement no matter where you're at. So we have individuals from other countries that have accounts on Wildcat Network. So it does allow students and alumni to network through that network, and we don't always see the interactions that go on behind the scenes, but that's been a really great tool. But also just other opportunities, I think, just be on the lookout. And if you don't see things, I would encourage you to call the Alumni Association or send us an email and let us know where you live and let us know your email address, because sometimes we unintentionally lose track because of a data issue. But do our best to stay up to speed on social media and things like that. And as Tom said, we are a family. I think our board members would say they've made lifelong friendships through volunteering with UK, probably unexpected friendships in some cases, people that live in totally different parts of the country, but love coming back to campus to interact with those individuals. I always hear about dinner reservations or occasionally a condo that's bought in Lexington just so they can come back even more frequently. And so I think that tells you how special the UK ties and their experience at Kentucky really is.
That's fantastic. Well, Jill Smith, Tom Mathews, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us about the Alumni Association and all the things going on with that. To the people listening, thanks so much for taking the time to watch and listen. If you're an alum, if you're on campus across the Commonwealth, anywhere in the world, the Alumni Association for the University of Kentucky is here for you. Stay connected and get involved, and we will see you at homecoming, hopefully. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cody.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Blue. Behind the Blue is a joint production of the University of Kentucky and UK Healthcare. For more stories about UK and UK Healthcare, visit uknow.uky.edu.